I'm folks. You see, this is my buddy, Don Smith.
Don Smith, happy to know you, Don.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you from?
Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder, Colorado?
Right.
And you?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. As I understand it, why both of you fellas were forced to make the death march after you were captured.
That's right.
Well, now, how did that start out? Would you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, after the surrender, we stayed in the sun for about a day and a half, and then we started marching to San Fernando. That was our goal. We marched for 3 days and 3 nights, and, well, the bad part about it, we didn't have no food or water, and only water we could get was up a Carabao Wallers and drainage ditches and stuff like that. And even though the Filipinos tried to give us food, the Japanese wouldn't let them, and several times they bayoneted women and children trying to give us water and food. But then we finally made it, thank God. And that was about, from there on we was transported to a prison camp in boxcars.
How many men do you suppose you lost? Do you have any idea while you were on this march?
Well, I'd say we lost about, on the group I was in, there was 800 men. I'd say we lost about 150.
150 out of the 800?
Mm-hmm. They fell out of line and they were bayoneted, most of them.
I see. And how much weight did you lose? Do you have any idea at all?
Well, I was weighing about 160, and when I arrived at camp, I was weighing about 118.
118. Lost that much in the 3 days and nights. Hot sun, I suppose, all the time.
Hot sun, no water, and fatigue, and that's what made me lose the weight, I suppose.
Sergeant Donald Smith.
What did you consider to be the worst feature of the whole 3-day march?
Well, it just seems so many of my friends, that is, that couldn't make it.
When they couldn't make it, they were killed?
Yes. And if you fell out and tried to help any of them, you received the same treatment.
Same treatment.
So not so many of them got away with it.
Did the Japanese do anything to you personally as far as torture?
Well, no, not exactly. Just usual run-of-the-mill stuff. You were beaten for almost any little thing. Especially out on the farm, one of the Japs worked me over a little bit with a pick handle, but outside of that,
What had been the cause of that?
Well, it was someone tore down in another little plot of ground that was working. He was standing up stargazing or something, and they had their little tricks like that. They'd pick on the first one handy rather than walk the length of the plot to go get someone else.
So you took the punishment from someone else because the Jap was lazy, is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Private First Class Pat Parker.
Would you mind telling me how the Japs persuaded you in case you didn't feel too strong or didn't want to work that day?
Well, that'd be simple. Pick handles.
Pick handles?
That's right.
By just hitting a man with a pick handle.
Well,
right?
not only hitting, they'd beat. After
Beat.
you knock you down, they'd stomp you and kick you around.
Well, now, what did you weigh when you were captured? You happen to remember that?
I weighed 183 pounds.
And what was the lowest weight you hit after you were down? You might say down to the low ebb.
Well, that was Nichols Field. I got down to 75 pounds.
From 183 pounds,
That's right.
clear down to 75.
Right.
Now, one other thing. Did the Japs ever torture you any or anything like that? Or would you mind mentioning a
Well,
case or so?
Yes, one case they do a little torturing. I got hung up with the thumb once.
By the thumbs?
That's right.
Are there any scars on them there? Well, how did that work? How did the whole torture go? Or what was the cause of it? And what did they do? And how long was it?
Well, they caught me talking to a Filipino girl. Well, the last I seen of her, they beat her to death. Well, they beat me a while and then hung me up with the thumbs. I hung out there 72 hours.
Without food or water?
Without food or water. To make it worse, why, they set a pitcher of water out in front of us. And then about every 30 minutes, they'd come along and drop a piece of ice in it. That was pretty hard to take.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, did you finally pass out, or did you keep conscious all the time?
Well, I stayed conscious all the time, but I couldn't stand alone when they took me down.